Welcome to another session of Down Under Trading. We really haven't seen a lot happening in the stocks space. Stocks are all pretty much just making highs across the board, sort of floating within a range, but definitely still making highs. Good to see you, Frank. G'day, Baldrick. How you going, bro? So I was just saying that with stocks, there really hasn't been a lot of change in that area. They're all at high, or most of them are at highs, making new highs, but not really breaking up crazily. Sort of sitting there nice and happy at the moment. So we probably won't spend too much time on stocks today. Bitcoin has had a breakout this morning, or this evening for you guys. So we might jump in and have a look at that. It's having a little bit of a pullback from where it is. So it's a decent move, about $2,000, $2.5 grand from its low, down at 51k, up to about 53.5k, breaking the prior high at 53.2. I have got this little trend line that I did just draw here before we started, that it's broken above. So we could be looking at a bit of a swing fail here. Yeah, and a swing fail is when it comes up, deviates past the trend line or the channel, depending on what you've got drawn, and then it comes back underneath. We'll test it, and then it fails and continues down. We could be looking at something like that here. I also have amended my fib, which is drawn from the previous high to that range low, and I've added in the 1.618 level. That sort of sits at around 54.8. Now, if we do see this trend line hold on the upside, that would sort of start to be our next target level that we're going to look at. And this level here also has some confluences with some liquidation levels. If we jump into the liquidation map, go to 7 days, we can see that there's a fair few liquidations up to around that 54.8 level. Beyond that, there's not a lot of liquidity that's had a chance to build up yet. Hello to who just joined us. I can't see at the moment, but welcome. So we could, if it does hold that trend line, we could start to see the price continue to move up to that 54.8 level. 54.8. But there, like I said, there's not a great deal of liquidity. As you can see, all the liquidity is sort of sitting sitting in the longs at the moment. Now, I think there's something that I need to probably talk about and put a bit of time into, and that's my idea of getting back down to around that 44k level. It's not looking like it's going to happen this month. There is still a few days left, but that's going to require, nearly a 10k candle to get back down there. So I think at this point in time, it's fairly safe to say that it is going to be slightly different this time, this cycle. I'm sort of leaning to the side of when probably not going to see under 42k again, and we can actually. I do have fibs for this, so I'll just bring these fibs up. So these are just from the 24k low and the 15.5k low. Those two fibs that I just adjusted. So when we do that, this is this yellow line that you can see on the left here. it sort of lines up with the golden pocket. This one here, that's the 50% level from the bear market low at 15.5K to the current high. So that sort of sits at 34K. That suggests that anything below that level we will not see again. And then this one, this 50% level here, is from the prior mini cycle, I suppose, where we hit the low of 24K. It's unlikely we're going to see below 39K again, although it's less. It's not as bulletproof. We can definitely get below this level. However, this one from the bear market low, it's not a certainty, but I'd be a pretty strong better in this instance to say that we're never ever going to see get below 35K this cycle. What my expectation is that we're probably unlikely to see below 42K again. I can sort of see us now for the next couple of months ranging between, and this is going to be a pretty big range, but between 42K and the all-time high at 69K. We are still rolling over, and I do still think that there is going to be downside, but I just don't think it's going to go as low as what I'd previously thought. 44K is still a very key level. We spent a bit of time there, about 6 or 7 weeks, maybe slightly longer, where we had 44K as decent resistance. We're yet to come down and really give that a good test. And it's not out of the question. It is a 10K drop, but if you're going to do that over multiple weeks, it is quite realistic. We have seen rollovers like that, where we came up here making highs and then it rolled over and we went from 32K down to 24K. As a percentage, that was actually a bigger drop than what I'm suggesting this is here. Only just, but yeah. So I don't think it's untoward to think that maybe we can get down to this 44K level. I wouldn't be banking on it though. The market is quite strong. Dominance has had another bounce. I think it to get down to about 52.1%, something in that vicinity. 52.3, and now since Bitcoin's picked up, it's had a nice bounce. So this is also another interesting chart, the Bitcoin dominance. I did note that when we were sort of rounding out at the top here, that it did feel a little bit different to what we experienced back here and over back here. These are like V-shape retraces, whereas this one was more rounding out. So I did think that maybe we're going to put in a higher low, and we can come back up, which would definitely affect the type of alt season that we would see. And to be honest, the alt season so far has been a little bit of a lackluster. There has been a few decent gainers, but for the most part, a lot of alts have been underperforming quite a bit, with the exception of Ethereum. Obviously, Ethereum's been on a rip, but if you've been tuning into a number of the live sessions that we hold here, of my stance on Ethereum has sort of flipped for 2024. My expectation is that Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin throughout 2024, and so far that is proving to be true. So at the moment with Ethereum, we broke above the 786. On some we got some decent closes above there as well. So that was the first hint, was when we got the daily close above it last week, and then we had a bit of a pullback, and now it's well and truly broken through. I think for Ethereum, it's on the next expectation up here, which is looking to be the case. We can we'll jump into NIA. I know you guys like NIA. So we got up into the golden pocket on, I think it was on Saturday. And when it did reach there, it was close to a 4-hour close. And as we can see, the candle closed quite bullish. Then it wicked through the golden pocket, had a little bit of a retrace, bit of sideways, but wasn't rejecting. And now we've pushed right through, and we're currently testing the 786, which has come into a bit of rejection. But again, we've got quite a bullish candle on high volume, so we could be looking to see higher for NIA. One thing to be aware of, though, with this pump, it's the pump that we've seen up to the 786 for NIA is obviously led by Bitcoin. It's dragging up some of these alts, and the ones that are moving with it are probably going to be in a stronger position moving forward compared to the ones that are sort of staying behind. They've got a bit more work to do, and I will touch on one that is near and dear to us all that is probably struggling a little bit at the moment. But in regards to NIA, I think if Bitcoin can sort of hold up where it is around that 53K level, we could start to see it testing these highs here at $4.30 and $4.60. We could start to see those levels starting to get tested. But if it does, if Bitcoin does start to pull back and retrace and roll over, then we're going to start coming down and testing the 50% level. Would have to draw a fib to find where some of those local resistance levels are. But from the existing lines I've got here, this $2.80 is a fairly key level. We've also got around $3.10 will be another key level. Reason being is there was a little bit of resistance here, retraced, and then it's come up, tested it, flipped it to support before it continued up. So that $3.10 level is going to be another key level. But overall, NIA looking good, like it. I say that nearly every week that I like it, and I'll continue saying that. We'll jump into Sweat, who has been underperforming for me at least anyway. It has bounced off this 50% level, which is drawn from the low to the high. We really don't want to see this level broken. It's similar to Bitcoin. This sort of mark above this line, we're in a strong position, but below it, we start to weaken off a bit. We can go below it, but we really don't want to get consecutive closes. If we did get under it, you'd really want to see a V-shaped recovery coming out of it, just showing that there's a lot of demand and strength within the token. But at the moment, it is a little bit of a concern, I suppose. This is a very key level at 0.0085. These are important here, but when we're still not finished, well, it's an unconfirmed completion of a retrace wave. We haven't produced any higher highs yet, so that's going to start coming in at around the 0.0115 level, around about there. Or we start getting daily closes above these tops, and it almost gave a sense of maybe we are out of the woods with this daily close over here, because it did close above these levels, but then we've just came back down and put in a lower low against this low here. So yeah, we really want to get some nice closes above these levels to start seeing some more upside for sweat. But play the long game. This is sort of looking at it for the short term. Um, there is that they recently revealed the roadmap, which does look pretty good. We want sustained organic growth. I think I did post that in the sweat server. Um, if we get the sustained organic growth, that's going to lead to a very profitable parabolic run for us come come the second half of the year and into next year. Whereas that the guys could, if the sweat team released tomorrow that they're buying Bitcoin to store or whatever it might be, that might see a real decent pump, but it's an untoward pump. It's from left field, and typically when you get those pumps, they retrace. We saw that over here. This wasn't a newsworthy pump, but it was a pump nonetheless that was sort of out of character, and we retraced it. And we see it time and time again with XRP and Bitcoin, Ethereum. A lot of them, when they get an unexpected pump, they typically retrace it. Was there any tokens that you guys wanted me to have a look at, or some finer details of Bitcoin? G'day, Tony. Good to see you. I will just say with Bitcoin, so I think we are looking at a quicker cycle for reaching milestones. Um, so if we were to look at history and what's happened historically, we would have been looking at getting daily, getting monthly closes, sorry, above the bear market 50% level, probably around June, July. And then we would have been looking at breaking the all-time high um, at around November, December. So I think February's fairly safe, although there is still a couple of days left and anything's possible. But I think it is fairly safe to say that we're going to get a strong monthly close above the bear market 50% level um, this month. So that would put us around 4 months ahead of schedule, 4 to 5 months ahead of schedule. So what does that mean for the all-time high? If we're to apply this similar logic, then we'd probably be looking at around that June, July mark to start breaking the all-time high in 69K, which it's not really that far away. It's only about 3.5 months away now. So I've got to put on the chin strap and saddle in, I think. I don't think it's going to be up only until June, July. We are going to have a retrace, but it's probably more likely to be a shallow retrace. It doesn't last for as long. Like, it's not going to be a 3 month retrace like what we saw in from September through to October, August through to October last year. I think it'll be a lot shorter. Um, so yeah, I hope you guys have your bags full, and if you haven't, you are accumulating safely. Um, and it's going to start to come time where we need to look at where or what levels are we happy with unloading. What are we going to look at to suggest that, hey, maybe we need to start selling some of our tokens here, and we'll start going over that over the next couple of weeks in preparation. It is probably early, but it's always good to have a plan, so when the time does come, we can enact on that plan, realize our profits, and not get stuck holding the bag. Muji's just requested to have a look at PYTH. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, so I think the narrative for PYTH has sort of died off a little bit. It's gone a little bit quiet. There was a lot of talk about airdrops within the Solana network, and that saw a lot of the tokens on Solana sort of take off. And Solana itself has been fairly quiet lately as well. So we could start to see Solana start taking off a bit more. It is starting to get due, I suppose. But we did. I'm not sure if you guys recall, but I certainly did. The tokens that are on Solana sort of lagged what was happening there, so we could start to see perhaps a little bit more downside. Although it does look like it is rounding out here. So you got to sort of stick with the trend. The trend's been up. And it looks like support's come in at these tops. So around that 52 cent mark. Yeah, the chart is looking bullish. If we were to see it sort of flip and come below this 52 cent mark, then we do start to have to look a bit lower. And I'll chuck a fib on that. I've got the magnet on. Yeah, so if we did start to see it breaking below this 52 cent level, then we can start looking at the 50% fib, the golden pocket. But at the moment, it probably does look like it's going to continue up. What was that, sorry? What's your position, Mujay? You looking to bag some, or you're just interested to sort of know where price would go?
No, I bought around 33 cents or 30 cents and then sold above 60 cents. I'm trying to find my re-entry point.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, look, I probably wouldn't be if you're looking to sort of buy low, sell high. I'd probably look to sort of scale back into the position as opposed to waiting for it to sort of get to a specific level. I mean, yeah, it's only sort of 3 cents below 60 cents at the moment. But yeah,
I had my buy order. My buy order is at 48 cents, which is like one of the. I think I was hoping it to drop down to 48, which is the previous kind of spot, but it stopped at 52.
yeah. Enjoy. This is a more localized fib level. I mean, it wouldn't be unexpected for it to get down to 50 cents based on this. Well, it's a 786. It's a little bit more deeper within these tops that are over here. It would be sweeping these lows as well. But if it was to break below that 50 cent level, then I think you'd be able to get it a bit more cheaper down at that 45 cent level. So yeah, I'm definitely not going to tell you how to play the game, but I'll probably wouldn't be waiting on 48 cents. I'd be looking to at least maybe start scaling in, using a bit of a martingale strategy to get back into the market.
Mm-hmm. You think about
Yeah.
53, 54, then start diving back into it.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, and you're still in profit as well. I know it's only sort of whilst you got in at 32, you sold at 60, then you get back in at 54. It's only really a 10% difference, but it's
Yeah.
10% that you didn't have before you sold. Um, and it's important. I think it's important as well when you're sort of playing that game to not jump like not to jump in with both feet into the market straight back into the market at say 54 cents, because then if it does go down to 50 cents, which is a fairly plausible idea, you're going to be out of capital allocated to that token. Whereas if you jumped in 20% there, jump in another 20% here, if it bounces and goes up, you're only 40% in a position, but your average entry is much
Mm-hmm.
lower. And if it was to break below there and start looking at some of the higher time frame levels, then you still also have dry powder to get in at those lower levels rather than bag holding in the red. So it's just a bit of a risk management strategy um, that you need to look at. But in saying that, something that you do need to be prepared for is that it might not get down to those levels that you want either, and you do end up with just a 20% bag. And sometimes, that can sort of play in your mind a bit, and you're like, fuck, I wish I jumped in when it got to that level. I thought it was going to go to that level, and it starts becoming a bit of a mind game. But it's all, when you start thinking like that, it's always with hindsight. So, yeah, that's just how I sort of like to play the game. Was there any other token requests that people wanted me to have a look at? Anything from left field, or questions or queries? Might just pick a random one and have a look. We'll go to. I haven't had a look at Total 3 in quite some time, actually. So Total 3 does look like it's still got some legs to run here. Um, Still breaking up. And as we can see here, there's a little structure on the way down. They're fairly solid candles. We do move over a little bit more to the left. There is a bit more structure. But I think around this $630 billion mark looks like a fairly nice level. We've got these levels here where it was acting as support. There's a small amount over here where it was acting as resistance as well. But above that 630 billion mark, then we've also got the bear market 50% level at 710. It's probably a bit of a stretch to get up to there at the moment. I think we'll probably want to start seeing Bitcoin breaking up into the high 50s. I think to start seeing the alt market get up to there. I mean, we're really not far away from getting into the high 50s at the moment. We're trading at 53.5 K at the moment. But the alt market is looking healthy based on the Total 3 chart. Definitely lagging Bitcoin. In comparison, Bitcoin's up here. If you were to hold the charts next to each other and look at where they are in the Fibonacci range, so the altcoin is definitely lagging, but that'll all get taken up come probably towards the end of this year into next year. We'll really start to see the Total 3 start ripping to the upside. And inversely, we will see the Bitcoin dominance start dropping off as well. So I can't, for those who haven't been around for a true alt season, I'd love to get some pictures of your faces when it does happen, because it's pretty wild, pretty crazy. Um, Something that you don't expect, and w- when you're looking at a chart and it's something's done at a 10x or a 20x, and you're like, oh, it's got to be done, and it keeps going higher. It's like, what the hell's going on? It's pretty exciting stuff. So, but with that, guys, okay, Mystic, good to see you, mate. Pretty much, I think you've missed a lot of it, but it's all good. It's all recorded. Yeah, we can have a look at ape. You love your ape coin, don't you, mate?
Yeah, I'm just looking for an entry, but I don't know. I'm waiting for it to retrace.
Yeah, so it's coming into resistance. It's at resistance at the moment. And it is putting in. It has finally flipped bullish. So we've got the low, we've got the lower high, then we've got the higher low, and now we've got the higher high. This is on a weekly time frame though. Um, where could it go? Well, we'll see what's sort of happened. So nearly got down to the 786, but for the most part on the weekly chart, that held the 618 as support on this retrace. So if we were to do something similar, and it also kept these tops here as support. It flipped in that resistance, got flipped into support there, and both there. So if we were to see it come back down at the moment, because it still is making a high, so this fib level is going to follow it as the price goes up. But I think we could expect it to sort of come down to that $1.55 mark, $1.60 mark, something around that on a retrace before it continues up. But what, like similar to what we saw with sweat, we'll jump into the sweat chart because it's a good example. When it does make that low, you can sometimes find that it just keeps sort of grinding up, and it gets these very shallow breathers or retraces along the way, and that makes it difficult to sort of buy low, sell high, get back in, buy low, sell high. Probably looks better on a daily chart. Yeah, so this looks a little bit similar to the weekly chart on ApeCoin. Is a daily chart on Sweat. The weekly chart on Sweat was more just a straight up grind, whereas we're seeing it here. Grinds up, has a correction, but it doesn't take out this low. It grinds up quite a bit and then gets a correction, and it is hard to time those corrections, because if you're, say, trying to buy in this pullback, then it goes up and you're like, oh, I'll sell here, but it continues up, and then the correction actually ends up coming down, but it doesn't go lower than what your sell point was. Then all of a sudden you start chasing your tail a little bit. That's where it can get a bit hard with buying and selling spot. So yeah, for ApeCoin, I think if the high is in around that $1.55, $1.60 mark is where it can sort of land. Yeah, no worries, Mystic. But I think for today that'll probably draw us to a close. Um, we'll wait and see what happens in the next couple of days. But yeah, like I said earlier, I think that this time for Bitcoin is going to be slightly different, potentially accelerated by about four months or so. So that sort of pushes my timing of the cycles forward, or brings it forward rather. So yeah, as I said earlier, put your chin strap on and strap in for it. Do I think the accelerated cycle would bring them? It's an interesting question, Baldrick. By virtue, it probably should. However, it is also hard to sort of. There's a lot going on in the space, and by that I'm referring to the land cycle, which is sort of touted to peak at the end of 2025, 2026. So I think the safest thing is to maybe urge on the side of caution, bring forward when we sort of think the peak's going to be, and take some profits at that level, at that time, whenever that might look like, just in case it does start to reverse and flip over. Then you're not missing out on sort of getting in at the top. However, you don't want to be selling everything at that time, in case maybe the entire cycle length remains the same as what it previously has. So that's where it sort of comes in handy to be laddering out of positions, laddering into positions. So you're getting the best of both worlds. But we'll be able to we'll be able to sort of see and get hints of what the market's doing, provided it doesn't just fall off a cliff like what happened in 2017. If it's a bit more like 2021, then you do get the warning signs. It doesn't just fall off a cliff. You might lose 10% on hitting the top, but you're thereabouts. You're not going to be losing 30 or 40% in that instance. So it'll just be a wait and see type of game, I think. And if price is at the mark of what you're happy with, you just take the profits. And if it goes higher, well, so be it. That's fine. You know, at least you took profits. That's there's the two hardest things in trading is conviction in taking the trade, and then conviction in getting out of the trade. Once you can start nailing those two things, everything else around it does become a lot easier. So g'day, Moose. We're actually just about to pack up, I think, but everything is recorded, and I'm pretty sure Nomad will get it up in the next day or two. But yeah, thanks for joining, guys. We'll see what happens in the next few days for Bitcoin. But yeah, I hope all your bags are pumping up. And for those who hold stocks, I'm sure that they're in a really good position. If you're getting into the market last year, I just finished trading. Did you get a winner though, Moose? Hey, that's the way, mate. That's the way. Anyway, enjoy your evening, guys. And if you got any questions, feel free to DM me or chuck it up in the server. I'll do my best to answer it. Until next time, take care of yourselves.